A simple joke about her ex. A phone call that ended everything. She laughed when she said it. Just a passing joke, nothing serious, nothing meant to wound, or so she thought. We were sitting at the dinner table, quiet, ordinary, like any other Thursday night. Our son was drawing something on his notepad, humming to himself. The clinking of the spoon against the bowl was the only sound. Then she looked up, smiling, and said, "You know, if my ex saw our son, he'd be proud. They have the same eyes." And she laughed, not nervously, not out of guilt, but comfortably, as if the thought of him, of that man, was still somewhere inside her, living quietly in a corner of her mind where I could never reach. The laughter died in my throat before it even began. I looked at her. She noticed the silence, the stillness that followed. Her smile faltered. "Oh, come on, it was just a joke," she said, brushing it off, spoon clattering into the bowl. "Don't be weird about it." I wasn't weird. I was still. And that's when something deep and buried, cracked open in my chest. That's the thing about betrayal. It never arrives loud. It slides in quietly, through a laugh, through a look, through a joke. The rest of dinner was polite silence. She asked if I was mad. I said no. She reached for my hand. I didn't move it. Later that night, she slept soundly beside me. I stared at the ceiling. Her breathing was steady, peaceful, guiltless. My mind wasn't. I tried to reason with myself. It was just a joke. She loves you. She's here. She chose you. But then came the memories. The ones I had buried long ago. The late texts she used to get when we were dating. The way she used to smile at her phone, then turn the screen away. The college friend who still messaged her once in a while. And that one time she cried in the bathroom, said it was nothing. It was never nothing. The human mind is cruel when it wants answers. It replays every moment, every detail, looking for what it missed. That night I didn't sleep. I got out of bed at 3 a.m. and opened the drawer where I kept my phone records. It started as a joke. It ended with me scrolling through her call logs, her social media, her photos. And there it was, a name. His name. The ex. Still saved, still active, still texting. The messages were clean, polite, "Hope you're well, glad things are good." But between those words, I could feel the ghosts, the warmth, the closeness of people who once belonged to each other. I didn't confront her, not yet, because confrontation gives the enemy control. I wanted the truth, quietly, precisely, without noise. For the next 2 weeks, I became someone else. Outwardly, I was normal, calm. I made breakfast, dropped our son at school, kissed her goodbye before work. But inside, I was dissecting her. I noticed the small things, the new perfume, the slightly longer showers, the extra effort with her hair, the sudden change in passwords. Each piece was nothing alone, but together, they formed something dangerous. I began watching, listening, collecting. When she said she was going to meet friends, I checked her car's GPS after she left. She wasn't going to the cafe she mentioned. She was driving across town, to a park I knew well, because I'd been there with her once, years ago. I stayed up late after that, searching through phone backups, bank statements, location data. I became methodical, surgical. And the more I found, the calmer I became. That's what scared me. The calm. When betrayal sinks deep enough, it doesn't ignite rage. It creates clarity. It sharpens every thought, every breath. She thought I was drifting away from her. In truth, I was studying her like a case file. By the end of the week, I had everything: receipts, messages, and one voicemail accidentally recorded. His voice, soft, familiar. "I can't stop thinking about you." Her response, whispered, "I know, I shouldn't either." That was the moment something inside me died. Not my love, not even my trust, but the need to fix it. I didn't want an apology, I wanted a conclusion. The call came on a Friday evening. I had been pretending to read when she walked in. Radiant, smiling, holding takeout. "Movie night?" she said, cheerful. I nodded. We sat, we ate, we laughed. And in that laughter, I saw how easily she wore masks. When our son went to bed, she curled up next to me on the couch, her head on my shoulder, her hand on my chest. I could feel her heart, steady, untroubled. That's when I reached into my pocket and handed her my phone. "Play the last voicemail," I said softly. She blinked. Confused? "What?" I didn't repeat myself. She played it. And there it was. Her voice, his words. The silence that followed was almost holy. She froze, every inch of her body still, except her eyes, which began to fill with panic. It wasn't, I didn't say anything. I just watched her. "Please, let me explain," she whispered. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water. "You already did," I said quietly. "I just didn't hear it until now." She followed me, trembling. "It didn't mean anything, I swear. I don't know why I answered." I turned, finally meeting her eyes. "Because part of you still belongs to him." That shut her up. And then I smiled. Not out of humor, out of understanding. "You said he'd be proud of our son," I said. Now I wonder if that was another joke. Her face drained of color. "What are you saying?" I took out the folder from the drawer, a single envelope inside. "I had questions," I said, placing it on the counter. "So I found answers." Her trembling fingers opened it. DNA results. Silence. Then a sound, small, broken. "You didn't." "I did." She sank to the floor, clutching the paper like it could change the words printed on it. The next morning, she was gone. Packed bags, no note, just absence. I didn't chase, didn't call. Instead, I drove. To the clinic, to the same one we'd gone to years ago for prenatal checkups. The nurse recognized me. I smiled, asked to close our records. She asked if everything was all right. "Perfect," I said, just closing a chapter. That afternoon, I received a message from her. "You ruined everything." I stared at it for a long time, then typed back, "No, I ended what you already destroyed." And then, because I am not a cruel man, just a precise one, I did one last thing. I transferred the car into her name, the same car she had driven to meet him. It wasn't a gift, it was a reminder. The keys she held would always carry the weight of what she lost. When she came back later that evening, red-eyed, broken, begging to talk, I didn't open the door. She cried through the wood, voice cracking, whispering my name again and again like a prayer. I sat in silence, listening, letting her words die in the empty air between us. Because sometimes silence is the loudest punishment of all. Weeks passed. People asked questions. I said nothing. My son still smiled the same way, still drew in his notepad, still called me Dad. And that was enough. At night, I sat by the window, watching the headlights blur through the glass. The world moved on. She called a few times, texted once or twice, apologies, pleas, memories. I didn't delete them. I just never replied. Forgiveness isn't always peace. Sometimes it's distance. Sometimes walking away is the most violent thing you can do. One evening, I saw her again, by chance. She was standing at a cafe, alone. Hair shorter, eyes heavier. She didn't notice me. I didn't look away. I just finished my coffee and left. There was no anger, no sorrow, just a strange, cold clarity. You see, love doesn't die in fire. It dies in quiet, in jokes, in glances, in the small, careless ways people forget the weight of your heart. And in the end, All I did was return the silence she'd given me, multiplied. When I locked the door that final night, I didn't feel loss. I felt lightness. Because some endings aren't tragedies, they're cleansings. And as I watched the last message from her fade into unread oblivion, I whispered, "He'd be proud," you said. A pause, a breath. But he's not the father. Then I deleted her name, and that was it. The end. The peace.
How could you do this?